Good morning. Thanks for being here. Very excited about the preparation for Buffalo. Great team win last week against defending conference champion Northern Illinois. Very excited. As I said post game, we lost time of possession, lost yardage. The stats weren't great, but no turnovers, no penalties. The 60-minute identity that I talk about with each game, we held them to field goals, we got touchdowns, and that was the difference in the game. So very excited about that. Headed into Buffalo, got some time off, and which has enabled us to hopefully get a couple more guys back, give them some rest after playing, the schedule without an open week. We are able to do some individual work with some young guys on the team. Got to do some scrimmaging early this week. Just throw out a few names I thought did some really good things with the team. Rodney Harris, receiver from Cincinnati, couple catches. Mecca Ryder, really good young freshman corner, I think, and there's probably a chance that you're going to see him here at some point in time in this season. Kyle Wither did a good job at quarterback. Braylon Henderson got a few reps, redshirt freshman. He has played a little bit, and you may see him depending on how this shakes out the rest of the way. So that was great for the staff to get a chance to work with some young guys on player development, and then we're able to get out and do some recruiting on the road off campus using a couple days. So a long opening statement, but some things I thought that needed to get brought up with saying that to open up for questions.
Okay, please introduce yourself before you ask your question.
Eric Decker with the Athens Messenger. Coach, coming into the week, there are only 4 teams in the MAC averaging over 30. It's you guys. You guys just held Northern Illinois far below their average. What are you kind of trying to attack against Buffalo this weekend or next week?
They present challenges. And no more amount of transfers on and they're too deep, both sides of the ball. They're a different team than they were a year ago. A new defensive coordinator. Mo's done a great job bringing those guys together. Obviously, they're the elite team right now. I mean, they beat the best team in the West, as you guys know, last week, and have beaten everybody in the East. I think the biggest challenge will be their front seven. They do a good job with multiple pressures, and they're a physical outfit for sure. Offensively, big, strong offensive line, very physical, very much like Northern. I mean, if you just look in pregame, I said what Northern was going to look like. If you paid attention, Northern has got some big, good-looking guys. Buffalo's right there. They probably have Buffalo has. Without a doubt, the best blocking group of tight ends that we've seen all year. Better than Iowa State, maybe not as good as Penn State, but they're a physical bunch. We're going to be challenged in the run game just like we were versus Northern, and they're going to be more capable at quarterback. He's a talented young man. They sprinkle in a few runs, which makes you nervous defensively. And as far as the focal point, all the things I mentioned, and then we're gonna have to have a clean game. Ohio can't beat Ohio. Turnovers, field position, be strong on special teams. It'll take a total team effort on this one.
Molly Richard with the Post. Coach, you mentioned how Buffalo is first in the MAC East right now, and how they beat Toledo last week. So if things still stand, this game could very well determine who goes to the MAC championship. How do you kind of keep that pressure from getting to you and address that with the team?
I think just as a program, it's, I know I say it every week, it's playing one game at a time, and that's our mantra. And what I mean by that is each season, each team is on a journey, and we're on a journey. That's the most important thing, and not necessarily the destination. So live in the moment. Let's be the best we can today. Let's continue to be mortar men, and let's play our best. And right now, with what you just said and ask is it's a fact, and we'll just play our best Tuesday, and see where we're at.
Coach Maria Manesi, WOUB, you mentioned getting a couple players back. I wanted to see if CA was playing, and if so, in what capacity?
He's able to do some things yesterday. He'll be a day-to-day. He and Justin, maybe half the practice. That's really where it's at. We got some time. I think today is maybe only a Monday, as far as with the game being on Tuesday. So we got some time still, but they moved around okay. It's going to become a strength issue on both those guys, but I anticipate it. I just won't know until we get closer.
Coach, you kind of slipped up there, and obviously college football is kind of synonymous with Saturdays. Is there any issues with trying to get your team to move on and be prepared for Tuesday night matchup?
No, I think it's a positive. I do. I've always said that, and not just because of the exposure. That's great, but it's got nothing to do with it. With my thinking on it, we have always treated it. If Tuesday's a game day, that's a Saturday, and we just count them backwards. And it's kind of like this weekend. We're able to practice in the morning. They're not in school, not in class, on the weekend, and they're able to watch, college football on Saturday afternoon after practice. I think that's different. I think it's neat. I think they enjoy it. It's a change of pace, and as long as your mindset doesn't let you take you out of anything, it's a positive. You take it's not a disadvantage. It's an advantage. Is how I see it.
Buffalo has caused 17 turnovers in 8 games. How important is it to continue taking care of the football?
Yeah, it'll be a huge factor in the game, and they have done an unbelievable job. They're strong on special teams, but the turnover piece of this. You watch the Bowling Green game. They've had at Eastern Michigan. There's been key turnovers in each of their wins, and so you tip the hat to Mo and his staff on defense. I mentioned with a new defensive coordinator, and with some transfer guys in there, with some new personnel, they've done a fabulous job. This last game, we didn't have any turnovers, and we're going to try to build on that.
Kind of going along with that, I think they have one of the lesser defensive efficiencies in the MAC. So how do you guys plan to use that to your advantage?
Yeah, execution, not to give you coach speak. There's nothing really we can do game plan wise. Okay, this is what the stats say they are. That's where they are. But a couple weeks ago I talked about, you look at the stats, but you got to look at who they've played, and particularly their defense, what offenses have they faced, all right? And so we're aware of the data, but from a game plan standpoint, we're trying to get our best 11 out there, get them executing at a high level, and let hopefully the yardage and the points will come from that plan.
With the limited time and video you've seen on them so far from last week, what did they kind of do against Toledo that had them so successful?
Toledo had a couple turnovers. I think they were up early. Buffalo, they just kept at it. What changed the game is their front seven. The quarterback for Toledo, he's under duress. And he had to create some times. It forced a couple of errors. Buffalo kept the ball in front of them, tackled well. But just like you, very much what you saw Western Michigan quarterback go through in our game, it was uncomfortable pocket, and just like we went through in the second half of the Western Michigan game, when that front seven is causing issues and putting pressure on the run, you're having trouble running the ball. And so you're throwing it, and the quarterback's uncomfortable, and he's having to move, slide, take off. That's when mistakes start to show. And if I pick one thing, that would be it.
Coach, you said after the game on Saturday that you wanted to see Sam get more targets.
Yes.
Is that still the plan for Buffalo and the rest of the season?
Yes. It is.
And the back end played really solid the past 2 weeks. That's going up against Buffalo's passing unit. What's the preparation like to kind of stay consistent with that unit?
As I mentioned, getting Tariq Drake back last week was huge. He's the sheriff back there. Makes calls, unbelievable communicator. He's an all-league guy from last year, as everybody knows. And so I think just getting a couple of guys back, obviously their talent level, but I think I mentioned this as well. We're able to be a little bit more multiple with coverages, which quarterback-wise, it's just not three things. You can't have 8 things, 8 different coverage, but you can be more multiple, give a quarterback different looks. Buffalo's got a Shane Montgomery, the OC, former school over there by Cincinnati, longtime coordinator in our league, does a great job, puts their quarterback in great position. So I think that it'll be a great matchup. But the combination of getting a couple of guys back, being more multiple, making the quarterback see some different things, it'll be a good little chess match between Shane and Spence.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks a lot.